yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm, yeah. Born and dead, saved by love, count my blessings from above. Though in darkness, have no fear. Light will shine on those holding near. They know that sorrow they will pass. For I know in this life there will be something. But remember that love, yes it will. Love will reign. Yeah. Love will reign. Yeah. In my heart, I believe it. Love will reign. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Have a vision, it's clear and plain. People live and laugh, smiling again. Oh, see the children, they know no pain. Far from pressure, stress and strain. Oh, sorrow, they will pass. For I know in this life there's gonna be some pain. But remember that love, yes it will. I know, yeah. Love will reign. Gotta believe it. In my heart, I truly believe. Sun will shine again, and love, I can hardly wait. We'll all be together. There'll be peace, peace, sweet peace, happiness and joy. Oh, yeah. One day, someday, hate will be over and love will reign. They won't last, for I know in this life there's gonna be some pain. But in the end, love will reign. Yeah.
Love will reign. And thank you, Kier Coleman Ward, for the opportunity to share your music on this platform. I'm Marcus Holmes, and good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending upon where you are around the world. I am grateful and thankful to be here. And if you are grateful to be with me, I hope you will click share and tag 5 of your closest friends, connections, or subscribers, 5 of the more popular ones, to join in tonight's video cast, emanating from the Love and Stuff community on Facebook and on the Marcus R. Holmes page and all of the love groups that are attached thereto, on LinkedIn Live, on Twitch TV, on Twitter, on YouTube events. I'm grateful to have you here and I'm excited about tonight's show. So take a moment and click share and tag someone to join us in tonight's show. Charles Green has joined us, and others across platforms are joining us now. And I appreciate you for being here on this Tuesday night as we begin to spring forward to our new time, which is our old time at 8:30. We're on the way there, and we stop today at 8 Eastern Standard Time for a special edition of Love and Stuff as we continue to celebrate women's history. It is not lost on me here in the Love and Stuff community that 77% of the members of our community are women. And the other 23% of us fellas have women, have mothers, have boos and bays, have daughters, granddaughters, nieces, have aunties, big mas, TTs, all kind of women friend in and around our circle. And it is Women's History Month. And we want to recognize women during this month. So we have some interesting pieces that we want to share. We do not own the rights to these pieces, but for permitted use according to the Copyright Act of 1976 for commentary and critique, we're utilizing some of the pieces tonight, and I hope that you will enjoy them enough to click share and tag someone in them. It's Women's History Month, and we should all be amplifying the voices of women history. You may already know that the National Women's History Alliance, which spearheaded the movement to have March be declared as National Women's History Month, have designated a theme for this year. It's celebrating women who tell our stories. And as we celebrate Women's History Month, and we will do it all month long, and we'll be having a clarion call to you sisters to join us next week. All of the sister organizations and sororities and women-based organizations, we want you to join us as we close out the month next week. But it's essential to us to recognize and pay tribute to the countless women. We can't name all of them tonight, who have been active in all forms of media and storytelling, some of which we will share tonight. These trailblazing women have tirelessly devoted their lives and talents to producing art, pursuing truth, and reflecting the human condition decade after decade, century after century. From print and radio to television, stage, screen, blogs, and podcast, women have had a profound impact on the way stories are told and the narratives that shape and hone our understanding of the world. Throughout history, women have used their voices and their perspectives to create and share powerful stories, often in the face of adversity, often in the face of discrimination. And in the realm of print, figures such as Mary Wollstonecraft, Virginia Woolf, Dr. Maya Angelou, all of those come to mind, right? These authors defied the societal norms and expectation, and they wrote groundbreaking works that continue to inspire generations of readers. And so I wanted to share a piece. It is not Dr. Maya Angelou, but I can imagine how she has impacted many different poets and many different authors and many different spoken word artists. And here is a piece that I wanted to share. I hope you will click share as throughout the evening. Thank you, Vivian Morrison and others for joining us. I hope throughout the evening you will enjoy and share. Click share now, tag 5 of your closest connections, friends, subscribers, or followers, 5 of the more popular ones to join us, Women's History Month. And it would not be, we would be remiss if we didn't take a moment out and salute the great women in history.
Whoa, she ready. Do this.
Birthday.
Okay, so just so no one has to feel the pressure of going first, me and my girls got you.
Oh, yeah.
Growing up as a kid, I hated my dark skin. And if I could be transparent, even now as a grown woman, I have to constantly reprogram my thinking. Years of being told I was not the standard for beauty, but see, that was a lie. Which is why I chose to rewrite my own narrative. Dear Black girl, we are warriors whose spirits can't be crushed. We speak up when told we're too much. We forgive when our Black men dismiss, degrade, and can't see that we are not the ugly ducklings, but the swan princess, the Nubian goddess, the reflection of our ancestors, the made in his image. When society tries to pin light versus dark skin, we remind them that every shade of chocolate is divinely crafted. Black girl magic is more than a hashtag. It is a movement, a statement like Maxine Waters claiming our power, moving through this world unapologetically, degree holding with our heads held high, melanin moisturized, big hips, thick thighs, hair free and natural, wrapped in a protective style. Dear Black girl, you better recognize we are the trailblazers. Everybody wants to be us.
Come on. Please, come on.
So to all my sisters, as we continue this process of loving our skin, start with this. Look at yourself in the mirror. This is me, the chocolate beauty, deserving and saying, I am queen. Dear Black girl, know that you are everything.
Sorry, Mom.
You're here, that's what matters.
What a beautiful piece, an important piece of powerful poetry that talks about the narrative of Dear Black Girl. We do not own the rights to these beautiful pieces, but we want to share them as we celebrate Women's History Month with the theme of telling her story, history, or telling the stories of women. It is so important that we do. This is Love and Stuff. I hope you will click share. We'll be right back. What you wear says something about you, about who you are, what you believe, and what you stand for. So here in the Love and Stuff community, we wear the brand that we live, and we live the brand that we wear because we love the brand. It's all about increasing the amount of love in the world and upping our love game. And if that's what you're about, you should wear it too. If that's what you're about, you should wear it too. We're here live on Love and Stuff, emanating from the Love and Stuff platform and all of the love groups they're attached inside of Love and Stuff. Thank you for watching. Those of you that are joining us on Twitch TV, Twitter, YouTube events, LinkedIn Live, we're excited that you're here, and we are celebrating Women's History Month. Hope that you will click share and tag someone to join us, one of your subscribers, friends, one of the more popular one of your friends or subscribers to join us tonight in tonight's celebration as we continue to look at the theme of women and telling their stories. We're highlighting women across many different genres throughout. I definitely, before we share the next piece, we talked about women generational leaders who defied societal norms. And when we think of that, we can't help but think of pioneering women. Similarly, there are women in radio and TV who have made significant strides in broadcasting, journalism, and entertainment. Pioneers like Hattie McDaniel, the first African American woman to win an Oscar, broke barriers and paved the way for diverse representation in the entertainment industry. Oprah Winfrey, of course, a media mogul and philanthropist, has used her platform to uplift the voice of women and marginalized communities, while Diane Sawyer and Christiane Amanpour and Gwen Ifill have exemplified journalistic integrity and fearlessness in their reporting. And I certainly wanted to highlight, of course, she is, of course, no stranger, right? We all have seen and have known Oprah Winfrey. And I think I got a photo here that I want to just highlight for her. Yep, I'll do that. And while I'm highlighting her, I'll share a little bit about her, though I think everybody knows about her. And I want to share with you an excerpt from her book. Oprah Gail Winfrey, born January 29th, 1954, is an American talk show host, television producer and owner, actress, author, and media proprietor. She is best known for her talk show, The Oprah Winfrey Show, broadcast from Chicago, which ran in national syndication for 25 years from 1986 to 2011. Dubbed the Queen of All Media, she was the richest African American of the 20th century and was one of the world's only Black billionaires. By 2007, she was often ranked as the most influential woman of the world. I could go on to tell you about the many different awards that she has won. She, in 1993, inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame, 18 Daytime Emmy Awards, including the Lifetime Achievement Award and the Chairman's Award, 2 Primetime Emmy Awards, including the Bob Hope Humanitarian Award, a Tony Award, a Peabody Award, and the Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award, awarded by the Academy Awards. In addition to 2 competitive Academy Award nominations, she was elected as a member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences in 2021. I could go on, but I want to share some excerpts from her book. First, from her book, What I Know for Sure, from the introduction, and then a bit from the chapter in that book called Gratitude. It's not a new story, she writes, but at least for this book, I think it's worth telling one last time. The year was 1998. I had been promoting the movie Beloved in a live television interview with the late, great Chicago Tribune film critic, Gene Siskel. And everything was going perfectly smoothly until the time came to wrap things up. Tell me, he asked, what do you know for sure? Now, this wasn't my first rodeo. I've asked and been asked an awful lot of questions over the years, and it isn't often that I find myself at a complete loss for words. But I have to say, the man managed to stop me in my tracks. About the movie, I stammered, knowing full well that he was after something bigger, deeper, more complex, but trying to stall until I could come up with a semi-coherent response. No, he said, you know what I mean. About you, your life, anything, everything. I know for sure. I know for sure. I need time to think about that some more, Jean, she said. Well, 16 years and a great deal of thought later, it has become the central question of my life. At the end of the day, what exactly do I know for sure? I've explored that question in every issue of O Magazine. In fact, what I know for sure is the name of my monthly column. And believe me, there are still plenty of times when an answer doesn't come easy. What do I know for sure? I know that if one more editor calls or emails or even sends a smoke signal asking where this month's installment is, I'm going to change my mind and move to Timbuktu. But just when I'm ready to raise the white flag and yell, "That's it, I'm tapped out, I know nothing," I find myself walking the dogs or brewing a pot of chai or soaking in the tub when out of nowhere, a little moment of crystal clarity will bring me back to something that in my head and in my heart and my gut, I absolutely do know beyond a shadow of a doubt. Still, I have to admit that I was a bit apprehensive when it came to rereading 14 years worth of columns. Would it be like looking back at old photos of me in haircuts and outfits that really ought to be left in the seemed like a good idea at the time file? I mean, what do you do if what you know for sure or knew for sure in the day turns out into what you were thinking here in the present? I took a red pen, a glass of Sauvignon Blanc, a deep breath, sat down, and started to read. And as I read, what I was doing and where I was in my life when I wrote these pieces came flooding back. I instantly remembered racking my brain and searching my soul, sitting up late and waking up early, all to figure out what I've come to understand about the things that matter in life. Things like joy, resilience, awe, connection, gratitude, and possibility. I'm happy to report that what I've discovered in those 14 years of columns is that when you know something, really know something, it tends to stand the test of time. Don't get me wrong. You live, and if you're open to the world, you learn. So while my core thinking remains pretty solid, I did wind up using that red pen to nip and tuck, explore and expand a few old truths and some hard-earned insights. Welcome to my private book of revelations. As you read all about the lessons I've struggled with, cried over, run from, circle back to, made peace with, laughed about, and at long last come to know for sure, my hope is that you'll begin to ask yourself the very same question Gene Siskel asked me all those years ago. I know that what you'll find along the way will be fantastic, because what you'll find will be yourself.
I'm on government assistance, and I run out of money, and I had to buy Pampers for Jelani. And I had $11.42 in the bank. And I remember wrapping my son in a towel for 2 days. I remember the second day, like you said, I had my hand on Jelani's stomach, and I said, "Don't worry, baby. Mommy will never be this broke or broken again." And that day, what shifted for me was I was willing, and I don't know if this is gonna sound crazy, I was willing to completely die to any form of me that I had been, so that I can birth the woman that I was becoming. The reason why a lot of people won't become who they want is because they're too attached to who they've been. And you hear it all the time when people say, "I've always been this way." Okay, well, if that's working for you, keep doing that. I knew it wasn't working for me any longer. I had hit my version of rock bottom. So I was willing to let go of everything and everybody. See, another reason why people won't get there is because the doorway is for you to fit through. You're trying to carry everybody else through because you're trying to be Rescue 911. And you got to rescue you first. I am much more valuable to my family and to my community because I was willing to let them go through the door myself, teach myself, learn myself, condition myself, and then come back and get them. I'm much more valuable to them now. But I had to go through a window time of 10 years of judgment You leaving us, hanging out with white people all the time. You going to these crazy countries. We don't know what I had to be willing to allow my conviction to make me inconvenienced. See, we want to grow, but we want to stay liked by everybody. I was willing to be my own rescue at the risk of your approval. But most of us aren't like that. Facebook is an example. We want to be liked. Well, I woke up and I like myself today, so your like is extra. My job is to like me first. I was willing to say every day, Lisa, you like you? Lisa, are you proud of you? Lisa, are you playing full out? Every day before I checked in with anybody else. I was willing to inconvenience my entire life. My entire life. I was willing to disrupt my entire life to buy my future, to buy my possibility, to give my dream a chance. See, we're not supposed to tuck our dreams in on the pillow when we get up in the morning. We're not supposed to leave them at home. We can go and fulfill somebody else's dream. We're not supposed to do that. That's not what we're wired to do. That's not who we are. Your human spirit doesn't care about the economy. The human spirit doesn't care that my son's father went to prison. The human spirit doesn't care what's happened to your family. The human spirit doesn't care about the past. You may have been molested, or your family may have been broke, or you may have been betrayed, or you may have a divorce. Your human spirit doesn't care about any of that. Your human spirit simply says, what's our command for tomorrow? What do you want to create? It's not keeping score. Your brain is keeping score, because your brain is designed to keep you safe. Your soul, your intuition, your human spirit is designed to make you soar. When you get to the edge, your brain will always tell you to step back. It's always going to tell you to step back, because you can fall. Always. It's going to tell you to step back. Because before you fail, the last time you did this, you saw someone else fail. You could hurt. You could be off work. It's going to tell you. It's designed to keep you safe. So you have to be willing to play between your brain and your soul. And on some days, you got to just listen to your soul. And you got to say, I'm going to leap. I'm going to get to the edge. Most people are at the edge, and you're standing at the edge, and you're watching everyone else fly. That's Pimp My Ride, Watch My Crib, all this stuff. You know, watching people's lives on Facebook. You're at the edge, watching someone else live, wondering what it's going to be like when you jump without ever jumping. And I'm just here to tell you, jump. Because only three things can happen. You're either going to jump and fly, or you're going to jump and fall on something soft, or you're going to fall down hard. Either way, you're going to get back up. You already know you got what it takes to get back up. Your greatest fear is not that you will fall. Your greatest fear is that you will live a full life and never fly. That you never leaped. You're not afraid of dying. You're afraid of dying before the world sees who you really are. Before they really get your fingerprint. Before they really feel your breath. Before they really get your contribution. Before they really feel you. That's what you don't want to happen. You don't want to leave this place without us knowing you were here. All I'm doing is giving my dream a chance. And I'm not extraordinary. You don't get off the hook. You don't get to be let off the hook. I'm an ordinary woman who chooses every day to make one more extraordinary decision. Everything that I need to get back up, I have in me. If I don't have what I need, I can go get it. Once I figured that out, the world was my playground. The question was just, where do I go get it? I don't know about that. Where do I go get it? Right. And I don't come from a learning background where I was a great student. I wasn't, my highest grade in school was a C+. And when I got a C+, I did the happy dance. And so I didn't have a background where studying was natural for me. Mm. But when I realized that if I go study something and I learn it, I own it, it's mine now, right. Man, it was crazy, because all through school, I struggled. The last time I took an English class, my English teacher told me I was the weakest writer she ever met in her entire life.
Lovely.
Yeah, lovely. And the same year I took a speech class, and my speech teacher, he said, quote unquote, Ms. Nichols, I recommend you never speak in public, that you get a desk job. Oh. And so
That's mean.
Yeah, it's just, it was demotivated people, sad people hurt. Sad people make other people sad. Hurt. Bottom line, don't take it personal, hurt people hurt. See, most people want the convenience of transformation without the inconvenience.
Buzzing, yes.
Required for transformation. So my grandmother says, and I love to repeat this, your conviction, what you're passionate about, your conviction and your convenience don't live on the same block. They ain't even in the same zip code. So if you want to have a conviction for something, you have to sign up to be inconvenienced. We're trying to find convictions and passion and breakthrough on the inside of our box. Well, when you realize that the box doesn't even exist, like someone made up, oh, you're playing outside the box. So we all bought into, there's a box. Well, I don't even own a box. I don't even want to get in your box. Like, you better come out here because I ain't getting in there. And so when you start thinking like that, Tom, all of a sudden, everything is possible. So I disrupt people when I say, you want to make me extraordinary, because it lets you off the hook. What if the God that we call God, the divine, whatever your faith is, what if there's no partial? It's not going to give me a hookup and not give you one. Not going to give me an opportunity and not give you one. I'm just going to go after it. If I die, I'm going to die on the treadmill, like Will Smith said. I'm going to be on the treadmill running. I'm just not going to stop, because I believe all things are available to us. I'm just willing to go after them. Are you willing? And then that is so disruptive, because then you got to make a decision. Because it's easier to live inside the parameters of, well, as a Black woman, well, as born and raised in South Central, well, I'm dyslexic. I wrote 7 books, I'm dyslexic. So just knowing, like, I'm not perfect. What I do really well is I manage my imperfection well. And so we're all waiting for perfect. It's an illusion that will never come to you, and it's an excuse to never show up and play. Your story is not meant to be your fortress. Your story is meant to be your fuel. Any story. Like the beauty of me being one of the top 1% earners in America is that I was on government's assistance.
Right.
Like, that's the beauty. Like, come on, it wouldn't be a big deal if my family was rich or whatever. Like, I'm supposed to do something. The beauty is that when you show the little engine that could story, like, I'm not gonna run fast, but I ain't gonna stop running. I might slow down and have to breathe and catch my breath, but I'm not stopping, because I believe all things are available to all of us. And good people should do well, because when good people do well, good people just do more good in the world. I'm that same girl who ran track for Dorsey High School, who struggled to get through high school, who got kicked out of college because I couldn't afford to stay. That was on government's. I'm that same girl. I don't forget her. I'm also that same woman who runs a multi-million-dollar business. I'm also the same woman who has 7 bestsellers. I own both of those. I own all of it. I don't shrink to my greatness, and I don't live in my saga and my sorrow. If you can own your brilliance while owning your imperfections, if you can own your giant while owning your smallness, if you can live in duality, constant duality, the freedom will be earth-shaking. If you can live in that. See, either you don't want to be as great as you really are, and you're trying to dim your light so that others won't feel insecure about themselves in your presence. And so you keep playing at 79 watts when you know you're supposed to shine at 159 watts. And you keep checking the temperature of the room to see what the room can handle, versus just giving the room you and letting them, if your light's too bright, then let them put on some shades. Can you give yourself permission to live in the duality of your imperfections and your smallness and what you're learning and what you still have to learn, and your greatness and your brilliance and your light? Can you allow them to coexist and then serve them up to the world? To love you, to see you, to inhale you, to judge you, to leave you, to love you. Some of us are just as afraid of being loved as we are to be left. If you go where you've never gone, do what you've never done, and say what you've never said, you'll become the woman and the man you've always known yourself to be.
And we do not own the rights to that content, but it is a magnanimous piece from Lisa Nichols, who shares in that piece her story as we celebrate women's history, going from a struggling mom with dyslexia, having major challenges in education, going to a multi-million-dollar entrepreneur, CEO and founder of Motivating the Masses, which has reached over 80 million people worldwide. 7 bestsellers. She is a stellar example of women living their stories, telling their stories, and creating the narrative that makes their story worth sharing to you. I don't know if that resonated with you, whether you're watching on Facebook or LinkedIn Live or Twitch TV, YouTube events. I see the comments there. I ask that you click share and tag some others to join us as we continue the celebration of Women's History Month. And thank you, Lisa Nichols, for all of your work that you do and have done. We're continuing to talk about the stage and the screen because those have also witnessed immense talent of women who have contributed to the world of theater and television, along with film. Playwrights like Lorraine Hansberry and Suzanne Laurie Parks have written thought-provoking plays that challenge audiences to confront the issues of race, gender, and identity. Actresses like Meryl Streep and Viola Davis have brought these stories to life with their unparalleled acting skills, leaving an indelible mark on the world of performing arts. In recent years, women have embraced the digital age, using blogs and podcasts to share their stories and amplify the voices of others. Creators like Issa Rae, who started her career as a YouTube series before becoming a celebrated writer, producer, and actress, have found innovative ways to reach audiences and tell their stories. Podcasters like Sarah Koenig, host of the popular podcast Serial, have redefined storytelling in the digital era, captivating millions of listeners with their compelling narratives. As we look back on the legacy of these remarkable women, we must also acknowledge the importance of continuing to support and uplift women in media and storytelling. The stories they tell, the truths they uncover, and the art they create have the power and have changed lives, challenged and changed perspectives and perceptions, and inspired hope for a more equitable future and world. And honoring these women and women like them during Women's History Month, we not only celebrate their achievements, but we also reaffirm our commitment to the empowerment of the next generation of women and women in storytelling. And so I'm so excited to share more as we continue through this journey, the balance of this hour of women's history, celebrating women in history. And I want to turn to a few of the women within the Love and Stuff community who are partners to us and share with you a little bit about their businesses. One of them is DetroitCouture.com.
Hi, my name is June Rochelle, and I own Detroit Couture. We are a fashion-forward women's boutique, and we offer friendly sizes from small all the way up to 3X women's sizes, very generously fit, very great quality. I actually have on one of our pieces today. It's called the Cuffed Up. It's in gray, burgundy, and black and olive, and it actually has a lot of stretch and give. So listen, in this time, we try to make sure that, first of all, it's quality and customer service that we offer our clients. And I'm so glad to have this opportunity to share with you. So go and visit us at DetroitCouture.com.
DetroitCouture.com and June Michelle Eaton. And now Christina, the money coach. If you want to get your money right, ladies, in this Women's History Month, check out Coach Christina.
Welcome to Powerful Money Tools, LLC. At Powerful Money Tools, we are here to prepare for your future. We want to talk about financial freedom. Financial freedom is budgeting, credit building, and also financial education. So once again, welcome to Powerful Money Tools, LLC. We can't wait to help you in your financial future.
We can't wait to help you. Christina, the money coach, has helped many people within the Love and Stuff community, and she is ready to help you. Contact her, Powerful Money Tools, LLC, here on Facebook, on YouTube events, and on Instagram. Thank you, Christina, for being a valued partner and member of the Love and Stuff community. As we continue to share in our Women's History Month, I want to go back to a piece from Oprah Winfrey from her book, What I Know for Sure, in the chapter entitled Gratitude. And Meister Eckhart says, she lists as a quote there, gratitude, if the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough. For years, Oprah writes, I've been advocating the power and pleasure of being grateful. I kept a gratitude journal for a full decade without fail and urged everyone I knew to do the same. Then life got busy. My schedule overwhelmed me. I still open my journal some nights, but my ritual of writing down 5 things I was grateful for every day started slipping away. Here's what I was grateful for on October 12, 1996. A run around Florida's Fisher Island with a slight breeze that kept me cool. Eating cold melon on a bench in the sun. A long and hilarious chat with Gail about her blind date with Mr. Potato Head. Sorbet in a cone, so sweet that I licked my finger. Maya Angelou calling to read me a new poem. A few years ago, when I came across that journal entry, I wonder why I no longer felt the joy of simple moments. Since 1996, I had accumulated more wealth, more responsibility, more possessions. Everything, it seemed, had grown exponentially, except my happiness. How had I, with all my options and opportunities, become one of those people who never had time to feel delight? I was stretched in so many directions, I wasn't feeling much of anything. Too busy doing. But the truth is, I was busy in 1996 too. I just made gratitude a daily priority. I went through the day looking for things to be grateful for, and something always showed up. Sometimes we get so focused on the difficulty of our climb that we lose sight of being grateful for simply having a mountain to climb. My life is still crazy today. Today, though, I'm continuously grateful for having the stamina to keep going. And I'm back to journaling electronically this time around. Whenever there's a grateful moment, I note it. I know for sure that appreciating whatever shows up for you in life changes your whole world. You radiate and generate more goodness for yourself when you're aware of all you have and not focusing on your have-nots. I know for sure, if you make time for a little gratitude every day, you'll be amazed. You'll be amazed by the results. Say thank you. Many years ago, these words from Maya Angelou turned my life around. I was on the phone with her, sitting in my bathroom with the door closed and the toilet lid down, weeping so uncontrollably that I was incoherent. Stop it, Maya chided. Stop it right now and say thank you. But you don't understand, I sobbed. To this day, I can't remember what it was that had me so far gone, which only proves the point Maya was trying to make. I do understand, she told me. I want to hear you say it now, out loud. Thank you. Tentatively, I repeated it, thank you, and then snuffled more. But what am I saying thank you for? You're saying thank you, Maya said, because your faith is so strong that you don't doubt that whatever the problem, you'll get through it. You're saying thank you because you know that even in the eye of the storm, God has put a rainbow in the clouds. You're saying thank you because you know there's no problem created that can compare to the creator of all things. Say thank you. So I did, and still do. Being grateful all the time isn't easy, but it's when you feel least thankful that you are most in need of what gratitude can give you: perspective. Gratitude can transform any situation. It alters your vibration, moving from you negative energy to positive. It's the quickest, easiest, most powerful way to affect change in your life. This I know for sure. Here's the gift of gratitude. In order to feel it, your ego has to take a back seat. What shows up in its place is greater compassion and understanding. Instead of being frustrated, you choose appreciation. And the more grateful you become, the more you have to be grateful for. Maya Angelou was right. She was so right. Whatever you're going through, you will do just that. Go through it. It will pass. So say thank you now, because you know the rainbow is coming. And that's an excerpt that I wanted to share with you from Oprah's book, What I Know for Sure, as we celebrate her as one of the women whose stories are being told and who points to others like Dr. Maya Angelou, who helped to shape her perspective around the story. And of course, that has a special place in my heart because I'm all about the gratefulness journey every day. And I truly believe, exactly as Oprah said, that gratefulness is a quick, easy way to transform your life by transforming your perspective and transforming the energy that you take responsible for living, sitting, breathing, walking, flourishing in. Kudos to her as a shero among sheroes, and kudos to all of the women that we continue to celebrate. As we continue this celebration, I want to just remind you that the Gratefulness Journey every day is available. And here's another woman who might share a little bit of her story around it as well.
Marcus, I want to congratulate you on Love and Stuff. I really want you to know that staying grateful and understanding the power of what it is to be operating out of a space of abundance and gratitude is the most important part of every journey of every day. So Marcus June, congratulations on this book. It's on Amazon now. That makes me so proud of you and your family and me and my family, and every single person around us gets it. So good on you for bringing it into the hands and the laps and the Kindles of all the people. Okay, so we're gonna check it out. Can't wait to learn more.
Do you have a birthday, anniversary, or special event? If so, the team at Blush Design Group is here to help you make it magical and make your guest stand or sit in awe. Blush Design Group takes the preparations off your shoulders, but never out of your hands. Here at Blush Design Group, let us make your dreams come to life.
Blush Design Group will make your dreams come to life. And if you want to learn more about them, go to blushdesigngroup.com. They make extraordinary pieces and make your event move from ordinary through extraordinary to magical. If you are having a wedding, or if you are saying goodbye to a loved one, if you are having a birthday celebration or anniversary, whatever the occasion, they will select the correct floral arrangements to make your event beautiful, and all of the linens and other parts of the event space. You definitely want to support Blush Design Group, and you can reach them at blushdesigngroup.com. Thank you, Kimberly Wagner, for the amazing work that you do, and we'll be looking to partner with you in the soon future for the mock wedding that is to come, and you'll learn more about that to come. A great partner to have, and you want to support them today. We're continuing as we look across all of the platforms. Thank you for joining us, Cora Fitch Williams and others that are joining us here on Facebook, on Twitch TV, on YouTube events especially, and LinkedIn Live. Why don't you take a moment to click share? Tag 5 of your connections or subscribers, 5 of your followers or friends to join us as we celebrate women's history all month long. And next week, I want to remind you, we're making a clarion call to all of the women-centered organizations, sororities, and the like, to join us in a powerful expression of sisterhood in 1 week at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Love and Stuff community platform. So I hope that you will join us. Invite your sisters that are in sorority, in a league with you, if you will, to celebrate what sisterhood means and how it has contributed to the power of womanhood. We hope that you will join us in that. All right, as we're coming toward the end, we want to share a little bit about women's history for those of you that might not know as much about the origin of it, and share a little bit of a video here before we come to a close.
In the 1970s, women's history was not much more than a vague idea. Then came the great feminist marches in New York, Washington, D.C., and other cities, marking the 50th anniversary of women winning the vote, and dramatic actions like women burning their bras in Atlantic City during the Miss America pageants. There were also some scattered reports of women in labor reform, like Rosie the Riveter, and a splashy Time magazine cover. But even strong books from academia drew little notice. Only flashes, but certainly flint, for what needed to happen. Women's history, and a sustained awareness of the importance of women's contributions in all areas of American life, including schools, workplaces, and government offices.
Well, my conversion experience to women's history came when I was a young social studies teacher trying to survive in the classroom, my second year of teaching, knowing that teachers need to know everything, especially social studies teachers. And it's a Friday, making my class particularly relevant on Friday. A young man raised his hand in the back of the classroom and said, "And what is the women's movement?" It's 1972. Ms. Magazine has been published. Shirley Chisholm's going to run for president. Barbara Jordan is actually going to be elected from the state of Texas, right? It's 1972. It's a banner year, the women's rights movement. And I am a social studies teacher. I look at this young man. I look at the class. I try and look as intelligent as any teacher could look. I pause and say, "What a good question." Let's divide into groups and look at that question. From the perspective of the church and religion, what is the women's movement? Socially, what is the women's movement? Politically, what are we seeing about the women's movement? What does the media say about the women's movement? And then, as if history was just a second thought, although it is my passion, I said, and historically, what would we say about the women's movement? Okay, I had them in groups, they were doing their questions, I was saved for the moment. It had never occurred to me to ask that question. It had never occurred to me to ask, what had women done in history? I went home that night to my history textbooks, one textbook, one chapter on freedom's ferment, all of it outlined in yellow, clearly demonstrating that I got an A on that test on the women of Seneca Falls. But did anybody help me remember that that was my mother's story? Did anybody help me remember that because of those women I was teaching that day? I had no connection to women's history other than these were facts in a book. And so I went back to my classroom and I told those young people the truth. I said, you know, what a question, what an important question. Because unless we ask these questions, how do we change the way we see the world and most importantly, ourselves, our mothers, our foremothers? And so the rest of the semester and for many semesters after that, every time we introduced a chapter in American history, we would say, and how did this relate to women? Or how did this relate to people of different cultural groups? Because each time we asked those questions, we expanded ourselves. So I would really like to thank that student all these years later and all the students of the world who are brave enough to ask those questions.
In a 1978 history class in Santa Rosa, teacher Alice Wexler remembered, Molly McGregor took a routine class assignment, making a slideshow on the history of women in the USA, and brought these slideshows and presentations into classrooms. This was the beginning of what would transform into a brilliant 40-year grassroots project that educated and inspired thousands of girls and young women across the country and beyond. This energy and transformation started with a small group of women in Sonoma County, California, who felt the need to know about women's history themselves. This desire to know was the origin of the National Women's History Project, co-founded by Mary Ruthsdotter, Betty Morgan, Maria Cuevas, Paula Hammett, and Molly Murphy McGregor. The women began by mounting a parade and securing local proclamations. Early on, they rolled out what would be a blueprint for a national program, a mission to build and sustain awareness of multicultural women's history. It began with a day, International Women's Day, March 8, 1978. With lobbying and backing from educators and women's groups, President Carter was persuaded to declare National Women's History Week in 1980. In 1987, after further work by the project and its allies, March was recognized as National Women's History Month, which is celebrated nationally every year.
We are here to celebrate Women's History Month by honoring women who make history, to celebrate the lives of women whose heroism and achievements have helped build this country. And we are commemorating the leadership of a small group of women who had the idea that women's history was worth celebrating just 20 years ago, and have, with their ideas, their inspiration, their hard work, and their infectious style of leadership, created a national movement. We are here to honor the National Women's History Project.
First contacting schools and educational task forces, the project presented teachers, both women and men, with a strong curriculum that brought awareness of women's rich heritage to both students and the teachers themselves.
The problem with the way my American history classes were put together, it made sense to focus on the biggest events, the biggest names. But one day I was talking to a student in my junior section who had been daydreaming a lot, and I asked her why.
Why should I study history? I don't want to be a politician or soldier. You know, we never study about anyone like me, or my mother, or my grandmother.
She made me stop and think, and then I did a little research. I discovered that only 11% of the people who have studied in American history and social studies classes are women. 11%, imagine that. And while some of the women discussed are truly heroic in their actions, a lot of times women are only written in as sidelights, as marginal notes. And women of minority cultures didn't even get that much attention.
This new knowledge, said Molly on the declaration of the first Women's History Week, was a way to make all women more self-assured, more optimistic about the power we can have over our lives, to be makers of history and active participants in our society. She set the tone and overall purpose of their work, the realization that women were winners and leaders in so many areas of society. The National Women's History Project created not only curricula, but also posters and materials designed to go into everyday spaces, living rooms and classrooms, boardrooms and offices, barracks, meeting rooms, city halls, and even police and fire stations. Women's images started appearing as never before. The History Project fostered community events and also encouraged state and local representatives to proclaim March as Women's History Month. Public libraries and bookstores worked up displays of women's literature and highlighted the few books that existed on women's history. The project worked in collaboration with other groups like the Girl Scouts, Business and Professional Women, and the League of Women Voters to sponsor essay contests, new research, and events tied to women's history. During the first decades, the project distributed up to 300,000 catalogs annually and employed a staff of 7. State and federal agencies made grants for curricula that totaled over $500,000 as the work was so new and just being recognized. The project gained validity, and its vision, the need for broadcasting women's place in our nation, was recognized, and over the years a movement was created. Gradually, women, along with their history and achievements, started to seep into the mainstream of American life.
So often, children grow up, boys and girls alike, never understanding the complexity of women's lives or the enormous contributions and acts of courage that they've performed. And so one of our major goals is to break those stereotypes and give that information to boys and girls alike.
The project turned unknown women trailblazers into household names. It led women to make Women's History Month a community event and eventually turned scattered observances into a national celebration.
Good morning. I'm Molly Murphy McGregor, the Executive Director of the National Women's History Project. We'd like to invite you in this morning to take a look at some of the work we're doing to write women back into history.
When the internet grew and the funding disappeared, Molly took the lead role to continue the project. She encouraged countless efforts and helped them succeed and reach a larger audience. After 38 years, the National Women's History Project became the National Women's History Alliance, reflecting the heightened interest and new organizations that have grown up to help Americans learn more about women's history. The project has gathered together, distributed, and often produced publications, books, gazettes, and films throughout its 41 years. It has led celebrations of the women's suffrage movement for over 25 years and is promoting Women's Equality Day as a national holiday. Each year, the Alliance chooses an inspiring theme for Women's History Month, which is used widely by federal, state, and local governments and groups of all sorts. Throughout the year, thousands call the Alliance's office for research and help and visit the website for resources and information.
We work as a clearinghouse with organizations and departments of education throughout the entire country. From the very beginning, the State Department in Maryland adopted Women's History Month and have produced curriculum materials every year since. This year, their theme, borrowed from us, In Every Generation, Action Frees Our Dreams, focuses on Maryland women. And one of these packets went out to every single school district in the whole state of Maryland.
The National Women's History Alliance has named women honorees, both alive and deceased, every year, and many events have been held in Washington, D.C. This event, along with publications about these honorees, brings these women out of the shadows and quite deliberately writes them back into history.
We need Women's History Month so we can remember all of the strong, unbreakable, empowering,
disrupting women who play a vital role in history.
We need to acknowledge the women, the relentless pioneers who didn't back down in a room full of men and taught us
how to stand up for myself.
Oh, perseverance. We are capable of accomplishing absolutely anything.
How to fight back and how to not give up on the fight.
This is a time for all of us to flex our feminist muscles.
Something I knew I needed to do.
But it wasn't until 1987 that we got a full month to honor those who paved the way before us. In fact, we initially only got 1 week to do this. In 1982, Congress deemed March 7th as the beginning of Women's History Week. 5 years later, the National Women's History Project petitioned for a full month to properly honor our trailblazers.
This past year, and still continuing, we've seen one of the grandest celebrations of all, the centennial of women winning the right to vote. Here again, the Alliance led planning efforts, supported special projects, networked extensively, and offered grassroots leadership to the many groups and individuals commemorating this historic anniversary. Starting in the 1970s, Molly and the National Women's History Alliance showed women and girls not only that they had a history far more diverse and complex than the textbooks taught, but also that they were a part of history. And most importantly, that they could make history.
March is being celebrated across the country as National Women's History Month. Programs are being held in schools and libraries, at work sites, and many other places. Do take advantage of these opportunities to learn about the historic experiences and contributions of women.
Come join us as we continue to discover and tell women's stories.